Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a realtor. This is a question that I get asked all the time, and I feel like there are a lot of common misconceptions about this industry, what it's like day to day, how much money a realtor makes, etc. So I'm going to be diving into a bunch of those topics today. I want to start off by talking about the education requirements required to be a realtor. Now, you don't necessarily need any sort of college education. While it might be helpful to have, it's not necessary to actually get a job in this field. However, you do need to pass various tests and exams in order to become a realtor, and the actual requirements change from state to state. So when I was a realtor in Pennsylvania, I was considered a real estate agent, and I had to take, I want to say it was one state test, one national test, and I was good. But then here in North Carolina, you're actually considered a provisional broker and then a broker. So when I transferred, I was considered provisional. I want to say there were 4 different classes that I had to take when I moved here, if I remember correctly, to become an actual broker. So really it's totally dependent on what state a realtor is in, but here I am considered a real estate broker. I next want to talk a little bit about the stigma of being a realtor. I know when I first started in the industry, I was a little bit nervous to even tell people that I was a realtor because there's this stigma around being a salesperson. So salespeople are typically seen as pushy, impersonal, and just kind of people that others don't necessarily want to be around. I read something a few years ago, and I'm not really sure if it's still true today, but I still wanted to mention it, and that is that apparently realtors are considered just below car salesmen in the eyes of the public. I know that I've definitely encountered some pushback personally. If I mention I'm a realtor, sometimes people just stop talking to me. And you know, I do get it. There are realtors out there that can be pushy, but it does kind of hurt the rest of us who are actually not that way and really just want to help people buy and sell homes and don't want to pressure you into anything. This is an industry where you definitely have to prove your worth and really gain respect from others. The next category I want to touch on is income, and this will probably be the largest category of this whole video because I know that when people think of a realtor, they think, oh my gosh, they make so much money, they make, 3% or maybe even 6% on every transaction, and they don't even do much. They just go in, flip on a light switch, and just the money just comes to them. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that is so far from the truth from what's actually happening. So as a realtor, you're considered self-employed, meaning there's no hourly rate, there's no salary or anything like that. It is 100% commission-based. This also means that you could be working with a buyer for a few months, a year, 2 years, maybe even longer, and not even make anything from all the time that you've put in with them. And that's because realtors don't actually get paid until a home actually sells. So until the keys change hands and money changes hands, a realtor doesn't actually make anything. I also want to say it's not that uncommon to make nothing in your first 6 months, even a year. The first month in real estate is extremely difficult where you're trying to build your lead database and really make a name for yourself. And there are a lot of expenses that go into this business. I'll go into those a little bit more later, but you definitely aren't bringing in a bunch of money your first year and probably not your second year either. In fact, 87% of realtors fail or leave the business within the first 5 years. Personally, I'm not too surprised by this statistic. I'll share a little secret with you guys, and that is that within the first 2 years of my business, I definitely thought about quitting probably once a week or so. The highs and lows in this business are really, really intense, and knowing that you've already put forth a bunch of money and you don't really have anything coming in is really, really stressful. So when you first start out, you're going to have more fees, like an initiation fee for your local real estate board, etc. And also every year that you're in business, you have to renew these licenses and fees. So every year I pay a bunch of money to the local real estate board, also the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, I also have to pay quarterly for access to the MLS, which is the database where we add new listings and put properties under agreement. That's actually the place where places like Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com pull all their information from, and that's basically the main hub of information for listings. So I have to pay quarterly for access to that. I also have to pay a privilege license annually, as well as access to the lockbox on a monthly basis. So there are just so many different expenses that someone on the outside of the industry doesn't even really know about. Something else that I want to mention is that we do not actually make 3% on a sale. It's definitely deceiving to buyers and sellers because on the closing disclosure from the attorneys, it will show you the actual compensation that's going to the buyer's brokerage and also the seller's brokerage. And a lot of people think that all of that money goes to the buyer's agent or the seller's agent. And the thing is, that's just not true. So that amount is actually split a few different times depending on which brokerage that agent is actually working with. So if you're working for a larger, more national brokerage, then there will likely be something like a franchise fee, which is a percentage of the commission. There will also be a local branch brokerage fee, which is also another percentage of the commission. If you're on a team, that would be another percentage that's taken out. If the lead was actually a referral from another agent, that would be another percentage. So in reality, agents really aren't making that amount that you see on the closing disclosure. I'm not going to share the actual percentage that I make, but I did want to make it clear that there are various percentages and expenses that are taken out that a buyer or seller is probably not aware of. In addition to this, because a realtor is considered self-employed, we have to pay our taxes on a quarterly basis, and we don't have an employer that's going to be taking out our taxes from our income. So what this means is that we also have to pay taxes on whatever commission we do end up getting. Something else to note about the real estate industry is that there are definitely ebbs and flows and highs and lows. So there really isn't much stability unless you are multiple years into the business. So especially when you're first starting out, you could go, as I said, a few months or so without making anything, and then you might have a really big month where you make a good chunk of money, but then the next month you might make nothing or very little. So if stability is what you're after, that's not really going to be the real estate world. One last thing I want to mention to end out the income section of this video is a very common misconception I've been hearing from people probably every week now for the past year or so. And that is that because the real estate market is so hot right now and homes are flying off the market, it must mean that realtors are absolutely loving it and making tons of money. And honestly, that couldn't be further from the truth. What really ends up happening is that because demand is so high and inventory is so low, we end up spending much more time with our clients, writing more offers to only make a small amount more. So in other words, we're spending this much more time with our clients and writing this many more offers just to make about this much more money. So when you compare the time that's put in to the money that you get out, it's actually worse in this kind of a market than it would be in a more stable market. I want to talk now about kind of the day-to-day life of a realtor. So I know that most people that jump into this industry, and myself included, I was definitely guilty of this. I thought that I would have a really flexible schedule because I figured if I'm working for myself, then I can set my own schedule, make my own time, and really just work whenever I feel like it. But that's really the opposite of what actually happens. We actually have a much less flexible schedule than someone who works for an employer. I know that that might sound a little bit strange, but it's really true because as a realtor, you're on call pretty much 24/7. That's not to say that you can't set your own hours and say, I'm going to take Sundays off and I'm only going to work from 8 to 7 p.m. or something. You could totally do that, but in a market like we're in right now, it's really difficult to take a day or two off because if a home pops up on the market that's perfect for your buyer, you really need to be there to communicate with them and set up a showing for them because it likely won't be there after a couple days. I know in this industry, there are plenty of times where I've been working late at night, writing offers and working for my clients, whereas people that have more of a 9-to-5 job, after 5, they're clocked out, they're done for the day, and I'm a little bit envious at times. I mean, there definitely are pros and cons of each side. In this industry, you have to be extremely organized and detail-oriented because you're working with a lot of legal documents and your buyer's or seller's money could be at risk. In this industry, you also wear many different hats because as a self-employed person, you are really a business owner. So this means that you're going to be your own marketing agency, your client's therapist, in a sense, a lawyer, an administrative assistant, social media manager, etc. I'll end out this video sharing a little bit of my personal experience and personal thoughts on the industry. So as I mentioned a bit earlier in this video, I definitely thought about quitting more than a few times. So you might be wondering, if the industry is really this difficult, why am I still in it? Why didn't I leave for something else? And my reasoning is, I have really learned so much about myself, and it definitely pushes my limits in a variety of different ways, but I kind of enjoy the challenge. I also really do love working from home at my home office and driving around, getting to see all different areas. For me personally, being able to call someone and tell them that their home is officially under contract or that a buyer's offer got accepted just really makes my day. And being able to change people's lives in that way is really what pushes me forward. Getting amazing client reviews and also hearing kind words from clients and friends really does mean so much to me, and it really does motivate me to continue going on in this industry. So thank you to all of my past and future clients for supporting my business. Well, I hope that this video helped clear up some common misconceptions about what it's like to actually be a realtor, and I hope that it gave you kind of a behind-the-scenes look of what my day-to-day life is like. I did film a day in the life video, I want to say it was like 3 weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it here for you, and I'll probably film some more of those in the future. Well, I really hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. Leave me a comment below, let me know if there's something that you learned from this video, and as always, let me know what you want to see in the future. Don't forget to subscribe as well, and I will see you guys very soon in the next one.